Well, Donald Trump has put the focus on the Canadian-U.S. border like never before. It's been the talk of the town since he got elected. He claimed that upon taking office, unless there was something done about our porous border as it related to human migration, drug smuggling, and so many other things, as well as the military. If we didn't take our border security seriously, he was going to tariff the heck out of our economy. It does seem like he's pulled a bait and switch, and now he's talking about other things. He's the trade deficit, but that doesn't mean that the border has escaped the attention of Canadians. I think a lot of us want to get a sense of what's going on at the border. How safe is it? How secure is it? And so to discuss these things, we're joined now by Mark Weber, National President of the Customs and Immigration Union. Mark, great to talk to you today.
Thank you for having me.
So in your estimation, when you heard that Donald Trump took issue with how seriously we took border security, what did you think?
I think a lot of it was hyperbole. I think the numbers that he's given in terms of the people and fentanyl and such that cross the border into the U.S. from Canada are wildly exaggerated. But we do have some challenges at the border that we do need to address, as does the U.S. And I think there's also a general misunderstanding of how borders work. Canada's not responsible for keeping things out of the U.S. or responsible for keeping things out of Canada.
Yeah. It's tough sometimes. You got to remind yourself of that every now and then. But when I have conversations about the border, one of the things that comes up is we simply don't have the manpower to do the job that we need to do. Is that a fair assessment?
I think at a lot of our ports of entry, we are short. We've seen the agency start relying more on technologies that replace people, and obviously technologies aren't finding the handguns. They're not finding the drugs. They're not finding the smuggler. It takes a person to do that still, right? So we do have staffing challenges for sure, yes.
And I won't ask you to make a political statement here. That's my job. But Pierre Poilievre has talked about, the fact that all of our premiers seem to be pitching themselves to communicate directly with Donald Trump means that we essentially have 11 foreign affairs ministers, each one with their own priorities and each one trying to take care of their own piece of the border. We've seen plans from Ontario. We've seen plans from Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and British Columbia. Those are the ones that really pop up in my mind. What do you make of the fact that our premiers are sort of stepping out of their lane in order to put together border plans that really isn't of their purview?
The will to help is never negative. I don't understand why provinces are pouring money and resources at something that is a federal responsibility. Right now, provincial police forces, and it's a different plan in every province, that they are going to have work between ports of entry, do not have the legal authority under the Immigration Refugee Protection Act, don't have the legal authority under the Customs Act. So what's being created is essentially, history's most expensive taxi service, where they are going to interdict people trying to cross illegally and then just drive them to us at a port of entry. That's our mandate, to do that work between ports of entry. I don't know why the federal government is not being pointed to and saying, do your job. We should be doing that.
Well, I guess you're saying in a far more diplomatic way than I that this to me feels like an absence of leadership from the federal level, because nature and politics and border security abhor a vacuum. And if you don't have the leadership coming from Ottawa, somebody is going to step in to fill it.
Technically, there's a 1932 ordering council that gave work between ports of entry to RCMP that we met with the minister last week. We're hopeful that will be repealed so our CBSA officers can start helping to do that work. On the other hand, though, we do hear the Conservative government coming out and talking about cutting federal public service jobs. That's us. So I don't know how you're cutting border officers, at the same time saying that the border is understaffed and we need more people there and the border is important to us. So it's concerning. I think it's going to take a real concerted effort, and it's going to need the CBSA getting to the point where they accept our mandate is the whole border at ports of entry and between, and we will fulfill our mandate. I don't think provinces should be responsible for throwing their funds and resources at this problem. It's our job to do.
Mark, have you and your membership been bracing for a possible influx of asylum claimants in the face of Donald Trump saying, "Get ready, America, mass deportations are coming your way"?
Yeah, I talked to our members across the country. They're worried. I know the CBSA is making contingency plans. Again, we don't know how big the problem will be. We're guessing. We don't know where most people will be crossing. If there is that influx, what the numbers will be. So it's really wait and see. And of course, not knowing makes you even extra anxious. We're not sure exactly what's coming.
But nothing has happened just yet. You haven't noticed an uptick of claimants yet.
No, there has not been yet. I think people in the U.S. are kind of waiting to see how bad this gets too. Everyone is anxious for sure.
Meanwhile, that I was reading an article in the Financial Post about Canada wants to say to Donald Trump, we have border complaints as well for all of your issues. Between 2000 and almost 8,000 prohibited weapons and firearms were seized at ports of entry between January and October of last year, and they came from the United States. Not to mention tens of thousands of kilos of illegal drugs that are inbound as well. What would you like to say to him in order to level set about what exactly is going on at the border?
Well, not really my role. I can tell you what our members find concerning is, again, that we as the CBSA are focusing more and more on technology over the person. We need the people in place to find those illegal handguns. We have cities in Canada that are going to set another record this year for gun violence. That goes up every year. We know they're almost all coming in through the U.S. We need the people in place, and we need our mandate to include working between ports of entry again. It's our legal authority to do it. We need to start doing it.
I'm speaking with Mark Weber, the national president of the Customs and Immigration Union. Mark, when somebody gets hired, how long until they are properly trained and put onto the front lines?
Yeah, our college, it's an 18-week program. Then you do essentially a 1-year apprenticeship before you're working independently as an officer. And then, of course, like all jobs, until you get really good at it, it's a few years after that. It's a lot to learn.
Yeah. Another
concern when we see, provincial authorities with no training in IRPA, Customs Act, no real knowledge being thrown into these positions working between ports of entry, that is not a straightforward job. We even see in the, for example, Prairie Region, CBSA has created a cheat sheet for provincial authorities, with a brief outline. This is what IRPA is, and here's the closest port of entry where you can drop someone off if you interdict them. Again, why are the provinces paying for a taxi service?
Yeah,
that should be us there doing that, right?
Well, I just think that when people hear that we're going to beef up security and we're going to have more people, boots on the ground, more frontline workers, I think people need to appreciate that you don't just manifest a border security. It takes time to train, find those people, train them, and deploy them properly.
It's long term, and this problem won't go away. Handguns are not going to be made illegal in the United States anytime soon. They're going to continue coming up through there. Drugs are always a problem. We see the opioid crisis. We know a lot of that is coming up through the United States, right? So we need the resources in place, and it's a tough job our members do. It takes a lot of training, a lot of knowledge of the ins and outs and how smuggling works to really get good at what you do, right?
Now, when you see that the RCMP are going to have a Black Hawk helicopter patrolling the Manitoba-U.S. border, what do you think?
Again, the will to help is great. I think resources are really good. A helicopter could help in some spots, but the RCMP are not overstaffed either. So when they're being given almost sole responsibility for patrolling, hundreds and hundreds of kilometers between each port of entry, you need the people on the ground. Unless the helicopters are just there to film people crossing, you still need the people in place to do that interdiction, right?
Hey, Mark, listen, if there's one, the silver lining in all of this is Donald Trump has highlighted the need that we have to protect our border and staff it with a properly funded border security team. So I take that as good news.
Glass half full. It's a lovely accident. I don't think that was the intent, but it's good to see people, talk about it and realize in some cases how much help we do need at the border. Yeah.
Mark, thank you very much. You take care.
All right. You too. Thanks.